So, all right, so what's next? We got a little techie.
Sure, I'll give you a little techie stuff because I'll talk a little bit about the set and how we use it for money making. And also how it's really unique because I modeled a whole bunch of television sets. If you've ever seen the Bill Maher show or Jon Stewart show, I've been studying television for a long time and also direct response or basically infomercials. So I wanted to create something that would be flexible enough to interview a celebrity class, a person, and they'd come in here and they go, holy crap, right? They'd go like, this is awesome. And then also be able to work with business people and be able to have as many as 5 people or a two-way interview. Now, right built into this system, what I have are monitors that you can look down into, and you've got one monitor. So let's say we're doing a live broadcast, and we could open up, and I am able to control all the cameras from this one location with this switch. So I've got these foot switches here, so I can control camera 1, camera 2, camera 3. I put them down here, and I go dip, 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 and I can also control if we switch to a computer monitor. So I can do this by myself. And
that's all wireless too?
It's all wireless. It's all Bluetooth. And then in here are monitors, so I can look at the show. And if we were doing a live broadcast right now, I could actually see the chat stream, so people can be typing. I know how my audience feels and what they're talking about.
And you can see the tone and the sentiment almost just by seeing the chat, even at a glance. What do you look for? Is it
so let's say for example
faces?
Yes, and I'll tell you exactly what we are. So I'll tell you on one half we have the shopping cart. The other half is the chat stream. And the other part, I'll look down here and I can see which angle I'm at, so I can make sure that the right camera's on. So let's just pretend we're doing this together, and we're selling something, and we're going to do a Life on Fire membership program or something like that. Okay, so we'd open up, and I'd have cameras 1, 2, and 3 here. So I'd open up with camera 1. I'd say, today, welcome to Digital Cafe. I'm here today with my good friend Nick Unsworth. He is the creator of Life on Fire, and we're going to be talking about having a life on fire and blah, 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 blah. Okay? Then I'd press down camera 2, go to this one, and I'd say, thanks for being here today, Nick. It's great to have you here, blah, 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 blah. What do you have to say? And then when you start talking, we'd go to camera 1, which would be on you. So it's cutting between the 3 cameras. So we'd talk, we'd build up rapport, and I'd turn back to the camera and I'd say, all right, Nick, what I'd love you to do right now is please introduce yourself, tell me who you are, where you live, and what you want to get out of this event today, okay? So that way everyone is typing and connecting, and we're building rapport, and we're building a connection that matters.
Huge.
And we're talking to people. So I see Stephanie, and she's from Boston, and we've got Alexandra here. We've got Phil from
So you're recognizing
Maine.
people from the chat.
Absolutely. They're involved. I'm like, Phil, tell me what you want, okay? It's like, let's get going.
I think what's awesome about this is, you're taking something and making it a live experience, but then pulling in and engaging the audience. So they're not just sitting back like on a webinar on Facebook on their phone. You're fully engaging and activating them.
I need to be in your mind, in your ears, in your eyes, and on your fingers. Okay? Because then you're not checking email, you're not farting around, and you're getting something out of this, all right? Take notes, get involved. Okay? So here's how you tell what the sentiment, the mood, and how well you're doing. So on one hand, if I know how much tippity-tapping is going on, and if they're chatting amongst themselves and there's nothing being bought, I know my person, as an interviewer, it's either me, I suck, or you suck, okay? Or we're talking about the wrong stuff that isn't a message to market match, all right? Now, I said that coarsely to illustrate a point, which is, I'm going to transition you off camera as soon as possible, or I got to change the subject, or I got to find a way to connect and re-engage.
It's crazy. It's almost like a QVC show. You know what I mean?
It totally is, man. It's an infomercial, okay? And that's actually my very first information product was called the Internet Infomercial Toolkit. Made it before there was a YouTube.
No way.
So I studied, when I was a kid, I used to sign up for junk mail. That's what we called it back then. I literally this is in like the 70s and 80s, there'd be little cards and magazines that you'd circle, and then you'd get mail. And it was like direct response, okay? So I would just get cards from electronics magazines and computer magazines and Popular Mechanics, and I'd circle every single thing just because I loved reading mail and I loved getting mail. I didn't know it. I was getting an MBA in direct response marketing because I just studied it all. I just loved it. My mom thought I was insane. So anyway.
Do you still like mail?
I do, but I'm too busy now to care, and I just, you know what? This is everything I need is right here.
Right there.
It's my iPad. So then I started watching infomercials when they came out in the 80s, and one of my favorite guys ever was Joe Sugarman. He created blue blocker sunglasses, sold $1 billion worth on TV because he made shows that were super compelling.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, how do you translate the infomercial formula to the internet? So back to you, Bob. So here's what happened. We're watching the shopping cart, we're watching the chat flow, and the more they're chatting and the more they're loving you and the more they're buying, we just keep on doing what we're doing.
Yeah.
Okay? Because we
you'll
know
just keep,
right.
So you'll just keep rolling. And now, do you have things in advance you prepared, or are you off the cuff?
It is a very, well, it's both. Obviously, like, none of this is scripted right now. Right. So you know what it's like to work with someone who's never been interviewed or doesn't, it's because they're not serving, okay? If we're locked in thinking about ourselves, in a selfish modality, we're boring. And the way to be, engaging and interesting is to be interested.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah,
it's about the other person.
That's what my wife tells me. So it's like, that means shut up and listen, right? That's her nice way of saying it. So that's the magic doodad, and then makeup. I brought a couple little props for you.
Okay.
So every good place has got some makeup.
Yeah,
so,
I haven't dabbled in the makeup yet with the show, but I've been getting comments about me not being tan enough. So.
Go.
I've been interviewing these tan people.
This is your pasty color right there. It's fairly pasty. But
so it's pasty on the back.
Yeah, so this is called cake makeup. It's from a company called Mehron, M-E-H-R-O-N, because everyone always asks me that. I'm used to it now. So you can get what's known as cake makeup, and then you get a little brush. And generally speaking, I didn't do it today. I actually realized I didn't do anything when I got here. I was shaving when you came in, but I've got a shaver. And whenever you've got guests, you got shaving cream and shavers for your people. You got toothbrushes. Because I've had people come in who had never been on camera before, and they just came back from a lovely Greek lunch. Okay? Horrible. So at some point, it's like, we're this close together, no garlic. Okay? It's one of those things. So, but that's another important factor.
One of the things about makeup, Suzanne Evans, we do some business coaching with her.
She's very, very, very smart girl.
She's
smart woman.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, she's unbelievable, and so it was interesting. We did, as part of our coaching, I thought this was really cool. So we flew in for a mastermind, and then we did a live stream together, and we produced and got it out all the same, like that, in a couple hours. And it was just so pro to see her teamwork and how it flowed. Yes. But we were all part of the show, and it was a full live stream and added value. We all promoted it, so it was a real smart thing. But it was interesting because when she talked about makeup, she put on a ton, and she made a joke about like how she looked, but she's like, said that you need it for the camera, and it, like, so much eye makeup and stuff, but it needs to stand out. Yeah. And then about her personality is big anyway, but on camera it's even more boisterous or whatever.
Bombastic is the word that comes to mind.
So tell me about that. So if for someone that's new to, maybe someone that's interested in being on video or doing a live stream, as far as how you act, I mean, in my head I think about being you is the most important thing. But what's interesting is, watching my earlier videos to now, I'm a little bit more animated now. And so, what's your take on that as far as energy and just the performance side?
Yeah, well, you take Adderall before you get on camera. No, I'm just messing with you. What I would say is this. First of all, authenticity beats every time. Yeah. And if you're a boring slug, no one's going to watch you. Okay, it's as simple as that. Exactly. I love that word, slug. Giant slug.
Just slithering along.
So yes, I think communicating and articulating, and the best thing you can do is, I can't watch television or shows without studying it anymore. Okay. So generally speaking, I don't watch anything just to watch it. I watch it because I'm like, what are they doing and why is their audience so big? Well, give me the whys. Yeah. And that's what I recommend everyone does, is find out why you like what you like and what is it about those people that attract you. But one of the things that I've been teaching for a long time is an exercise called How to Be Comfortable on Camera. And really what it all comes down to is being able to look into the camera and see the person you love, see the one. So if I asked you right now, let's do the exercise together, and I said, all right, Nick, describe to me your perfect customer. If you think back to someone you have served, who invested in your programs, implemented, achieved results, and came back and said, what else do you have? What's that person's name?
Andrea.
Andrea.
Andrea Bouget.
Okay.
Love you, Andrea.
All right. So Andrea Andrea, can you tell me a little bit about her? Who she is, where she lives, does she have family, what does she do, who does she love, what does she aspire to be when she grows up?
Yeah, so Andrea Bruget came in on one of our 20-day challenges, knocked the cover off the ball, just implemented. She's so hungry, yet she just has such just a very genuine, authentic demeanor, and she's such a giver. So she's always head on swivel, how do I help someone else?
Yeah.
And she's just literally like the sweetest person I've ever met. And so she does aromatherapy, and she's got this Aroma Head Institute. She teaches classes about aromatherapy, and she also sources essential oils and all this stuff. And this industry is exploding now. It
totally is.
This company, it's so much fun to see her grow. And so, she did a webinar, and went from 50K a month to 60. Then she bumped up to our elite level. It's our highest level coaching package. We meet in Florida at her, really cool home. She's showing me all this essential oil stuff, and then it's like we sit down, and then she's showing me a plan. She's, we're going through her goals and what she wants. I'm like, you got a 7-figure business, and here's how we get there. And she went from, that was in January. She broke 100K in February, a month.
Nice.
She broke 300K in March, and it's crazy.
Wow.
And it was a combination of, she's got amazing products and services, but as far as being seen everywhere, she's the guru in that industry.
Yeah.
But Shane and Ryan, who you know very well,
yeah.
so they, we got her to bring them on board, and so they're running her Facebook traffic. And all it was it was a mindset breakthrough, and then it was traffic, and now she's exploding. And
so here's the secret. So every time you are on camera, what you do is you go through the same exercise. You see how you knew
Kinda
everything.
lit up right
now
there,
you did
yeah.
it. You did. You totally.
Yeah.
And if all you do is figure out who's your ideal customer or your perfect customer by name, not like all women, okay? Because everyone's friend is no one's friend, and when you speak to everyone, you're speaking to no one, and you will attract insane, crazy, schizophrenic people. But if you speak to the one, so if every time you ever presented on camera and you spoke on a live cast or a live stream, where you presented and you spoke to Andrea, you actually performed for her, you will attract more Andreas into your life.
That is huge.
I
That's
believe
crazy.
that is the secret to great camera work.
That is huge, man. Thank you for that. I never
Here, I'll shake your hand.
Boom. I never thought about it that way.
All right.
So that's cool.
It's giant.
That's giant. That's huge. All right. So we got the on-camera techniques. We got some of the tech, and
you everywhere now?
Yeah, I think so. To give these guys some of, because what I love about your business.
Is it okay if I give you a little coaching?
Yeah.
So here's something huge, and it'll totally change the relationship you have with your customers. If you're ready.
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready.
It's never you guys. It is you. You are only speaking to one. I have a relationship with you. Only you. It's never all of you. You guys.
It's good.
It's not everyone. It's you. I only speak to
one person.
Only
on the other
on
end.
Andrea. Now, here's what's also great. Where the women go, the men will follow. So, when you adjust your behavior, your speaking demeanor to the one who's a woman, you articulate, you will find that you are going to find more conscious men who follow you. And I went from 20, in the early days, not even that, less, probably 17% women to 23 to 35 to 55%.
Really?
In less than 18 months.
Wow. Okay.
All of our high-end customers, over 50% women.
Okay.
And they're implementers, they're doers, they're community builders, and they pay attention to community in ways most men don't. But when you are communicating to a female audience, more conscious men show up, and you can't have one or the other. It is both.
Right.
So anyway, that's if I had to choose, I know I'd rather have 60 to 70% women as customers, 30% men.
Interesting.
And that's not because I don't want men. It's because I have found I get better men when I communicate. So anyway, it's all of you and you, and women in particular.
Respond to that.
Feel that. Yeah, totally. It's like
gets me. Yeah,
totally.
like the connection.
Right.
And so maybe if I can have all Andreas, just the whole. Army of Andreas, but
implementers, doers, givers, community builders.
It's huge, and so I think for someone that's just getting started, and I want to come back to, because you're very passionate about everything that you get into, and it's very evident for everyone to see. And I think with what you've built with your companies and how many people you've helped, one of the biggest things is trying to figure out what is the unique gift or talent or. How do I figure out my purpose, or where do I start? Because we're going to get to the how to build audience and be everywhere.
Yes.
But what's some tips just about how to figure out what that purpose is? So if they don't like their job, or if they're in a situation where they're an entrepreneur but they don't really like it, or they're a realtor and that's not fun for them. You know, how did you get to your life on fire where you're loving what you do?
Right. Well, I've learned one thing that we should do is close the door that's to the studio. Do you want to grab that, Eric? Okay. Yeah. They're just yapping out there. That way we won't have any noise. Sorry about that, but that way it'll be done. So great question, and I'll go there as soon as he comes back. I can give you an exercise to do that.
That'd be huge.
Okay, great.
Because that's for us. That's the biggest gift we can give to someone to help them start their journey to live their life on fire. Is to first figure out what's gonna make them happy, and where's the alignment.
Great. So you tell me when you're ready and rolling again. Okay, good. So I'm going to give you an exercise that everyone can follow here, and then we'll also give everyone some resources to actually do this and watch it step by step as well. Okay. So I think some of it's mindset, no doubt about it, and I think being able to tap into your authentic self and stay and be authentic is a huge thing, of course. The other part of that is, at some point, you just plain have to deliver value. And getting off the treadmill of trading time for money requires really understanding your passion, your purpose, and what your value is, so you're able to, change that exchange. In other words, become a force multiplier, have leverage in your life. And I think what we can do is this exercise will allow everyone to not only tap into what that is, but also create massively engaging content that can become live video, podcasts, books, products, and allow them to engage with a worldwide audience, develop a list, and achieve the freedom that they desire. So we can do all of these, and it all starts with an exercise I've been teaching for quite a while. It's called the 10 by 10 by 4. And the basic idea is, if I sat down with you right now and I said, all right, Nick, I want you to write down on a little piece of paper the top 10 questions people ask you all the time about how to live and have a life on fire. How long do you think it would take you to write down those 10 things?
Bang it up pretty fast.
Okay. And then I'd say, okay, those are the frequently asked questions, because those are asked by people who don't know exactly what your magic is and they want to figure it out, but they don't know what they don't know, so they're just going to ask kind of obvious questions. It's what they search for online. Then I said, look, you've been studying how to be successful, how to live a life on fire, and how to have a life of passion. You're a student of it. You've implemented it, and now that you are forward-facing, you're a public figure, you are held to a high standard. Your people are looking to you as a leader, so there's even more pressure to do that.
I have to live life on fire.
Totally. Exactly.
Which is great.
It
keeps me living it.
And what destroys a lot of people is when they reach a point in their lives when the expectation of who they are and who they really are and who they want to be changes. That's where addictions come from, my friend. So, another sorts of self-destructive behavior. And the addiction to what they get as a result of that. But staying focused here. If I asked you then, now the frequently asked questions are what they ask you, but if I said, look, tell me the should ask questions. You've studied success, you've studied life on fire. If you had to come up with the top 10 should ask questions that people would hear and they'd be like, major distinction. So give me one, for example, a should ask question. So not a frequently asked, but it's like, what's a distinctive lesson that you've learned that when you see it, when you implement it, big things happen to you in your life or for your customers and clients, or they look at you and go, my God, I have to work with you?
Yeah, I mean, something that they should ask is, it would be, I mean, for us, it's how do you find what their passion is? Because a lot of people, they aren't aware when they're coming into it that the first thing that we need to do is help them figure out what is their purpose.
What's the answer then? So if I asked you, I came to you and I said, Nick, I want to find my passion and my purpose. And I just don't know where to start, where to go. What should I do? What's the first step I can take that I can realize and either experience results in advance right now, or if I can implement this very quickly and actually have an aha experience that will at least get me out of the rut that I'm in? What would you say?
Yeah, so for me, I mean, the exercise I take people through is, it's the 3 S's. So the first one is, what's your background story? Because a lot of times...
Story.
Story, and the things that you've gone through can lead to a passion in the future. So as an example, foster kids, they had a crazy upbringing where their biggest challenge can turn into their biggest success or opportunity, because they take that awful experience and that turns into a podcast where they're a foster kid interviewing successful foster kid entrepreneurs that they have a connection, then that audience can inspire foster kids all around the world.
Perfect.
And now they've got a reason why, and then it's a mission, and then they can give back to foster kids.
Great.
So it's like, boom. So that's the
First
story.
S. What's the second S?
Second is stance. And so stance is, what's your background story? And then, the question would be, what do you stand for? What's your movement, or what pisses you off? And and that's where the fire comes from, and that's where the passion comes from. And, it was interesting because I got asked that question by Suzanne before I started any of this. And I was like, nothing really pisses me off. I'm not really sure. And then when I dug down deep into my background, my story, it's like, well, what pisses me off is, is growing up, where my dad worked too much and he, didn't like his job, and that's where my fire comes from, is because I want to change that for me. And sure enough, up until 2 years ago, I was living the same way, workaholic. So my stance is I want to help people live, love their lives, love what they do for work, and live their lives on fire. Good. And then the next S is strategy, and it's
how are you going to get there?
How are you going to get there? Yeah. What the heck are you going to do? Now that you figured it out, how are you going to get there?
Good.
And so but what's interesting is that's how we go about it. Perfect. But there's it's always good to see other perspectives and how to get there.
So that was about 3 minutes. Okay. So if we wrote down, that was great, by the way. And that's one of the reasons why you're successful, is because people will be like, that feels right, I resonate. Exactly. So the first 10 are frequently asked questions, the second 10 are should ask questions, and we have 4. So at the end of that, so if I were holding my mobile phone, we could have recorded that. That would be great content you could give away and share. Yeah. And it can also be transcribed. It could be a podcast episode. Okay. It could be distributed all over the web. It could be transcribed into a chapter of a book. Yeah. And with about 20 chapters, you have enough content for a book. Okay. All right? Yeah. So what I do is I go through a little process, and I have people just take out a pen, piece of paper, and I turn on a timer for 3 minutes. I say, write down all the frequently asked questions you can think of that you've been asked, that people ask you all the time, no matter what business you're in. Then write down all the should ask questions, the wisdom, your particular unique life experience, the things that you have put in your 10,000 hours for, your 5 years of grueling hard work to become great at whatever it is you're doing. So some people, they get there a little bit faster. But the bottom line is, when they write down their 10 and their 10, they have enough content to do a live show, a webcast, a webinar, 10 mini podcast episodes, an entire book. Sure. And then at the end of each chapter, if I said, okay, at the end of that little video, you'd say, hi, my name is Nick Unsworth, and I'm going to give you my first Life on Fire tip. It's the 3 S's that will give you blah, 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 okay? Yeah. And then you'd just go through your 3 S's, and at the end, you'd say, and if you'd like more great videos just like this one, I made 19 other ones just like it that'll improve your life. Where should they go? Yeah. Okay? So you'd say, go to lifeonfire.com/free tips. Yeah. Okay? Yeah. So now you've got something to give away. Sure. That'll position you as an expert and authority. It will develop rapport. And if you had a way to distribute that all over the internet, very quickly, one click, you could go out to YouTube, to Dailymotion, to Vimeo. You can have your podcast channel. You could transcribe it into a book. And I've literally taught people this, and they've created, I have all those books that we looked at a little while ago. Hundreds of people have used this formula to start their first podcast, start their first live cast, create their content to give away online, stuff to give away on their lead capture page, produce their first book, and put it on Amazon and get it distributed to hundreds of millions of credit card paying members. Apple's got 1.5 billion registered users right now. Google has about 2 billion users. You can broadcast this message, get seen, heard, found, and people connect and bond with you.
That's huge. And what I love about that is that using that framework and just developing out those videos or content, I mean, it started as video, then transcribed into all these other places that we'll get into. It's what I love is that when you think about it in that way, you're actually answering the problems that your demographic has.
Totally.
That's the beauty of it, is that it's forcing the person, no matter what the skill level is, to give content that's going to be relevant to the end audience, which is key. Right. So that's cool.
So the secret, when you said, what is the secret? It's empathy. The greatest marketers ever are empaths. They can feel everything their target. You can feel, you know how your action, even how you blink or move, would affect Andrea's reaction or her own emotions. And when you act empathically, compassionately towards the one, others like them will feel that. You will draw them magically into your life. It is a flow. It's a yogic experience. It's an energetic, spiritual experience. So I view the act of presenting on camera to the one to you as a spiritual exercise.
Yeah, that's cool.
And I believe that meditation and prayer is a huge part of that. What I do is I program my dreams.
Okay.
I go to bed thinking about how can I serve the one, and I have Lori, for example, is one of my ideal customers.
Okay.
And it turns out Lori, I actually have her book over here. She wrote a best-selling book. She started her podcast. She's an implementer. She's invested in all my courses and all my programs, and her husband's a believer. Now, he started a scuba diving podcast. Their son, Richard, is doing this as a business. He's doing this, meaning helping people write their own books, find their message, create products and services around this. This is a huge opportunity. Everyone needs this right now.
And so for Lori, was it?
Lori Barr.
Lori Barr. Okay. So let's say that they figured out their passion, their purpose, their message. So walk us through the process.
Sure.
They do the 10-10-4.
Yeah.
They get content, and then how do they build up that audience?
Good.
And get it out there, because I think this is.
So this is, in full disclosure, I'm in the tools business. So this is, I've built tools to do this stuff. But, and I just did it. My 5th #1 best-selling book, You Everywhere Now. That's one of the gifts we'll give away.
Yeah.
This was done. So I'm going to use this as a story to illustrate what happened, because literally, as of today, when we're recording this, I did 80% of that book in 2.5 days.
Huge.
Okay. And it became a #1 bestseller 6 hours after it was released and published.
Okay.
Because of what has happened. So now I do have a base, a platform, but anyone can start out with nothing and do this. So here's the step-by-step. You start out, do the 10x10x10x4. In my experience, most people can come up with about 15 questions in 3 minutes.
Wow.
Okay? So let's just round that down and say you came up with 5 every 3 minutes.
Okay.
Okay? How many 5-minute block or how many 3-minute blocks are in an hour?
How many 3-minute blocks are in an hour? What is that?
20.
20,
right?
Yeah.
So 20 times
Do you have a
5.
calculator?
I know, this is one of those things.
My
so
math is awful. I was a finance major. You would never guess it. You might see my eyes like crossed, and I'm like.
So the whole thing is 20 times 5 is?
Hundo.
100. That's 100 questions. That's enough.
Okay.
That's enough. So if all we did is, in 1 hour, if you took yourself out for a nice lunch and all you did is start writing, and here's what happens. Most people don't realize how much content and knowledge is inside their brains.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
And once they start, they can't stop, and they're like, Most people come up with 100 to 200 in 90 minutes.
Whoa. Okay.
I've had people come back after an hour-long lunch. I've done this exercise, taking an hour-long lunch, and I offered a prize. I gave away a camera to whoever came up. Someone came back 275.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's a lot.
Of content.
That's like 5 books.
Yeah.
So then what you do is you sit down and you can pull out your mobile phone. You've got a production studio in your pocket, or someone can hold it, or you can put it on a tripod, and you just answer the questions to the one. Pick your ideal audience, and there's, again, I've got a little exercise. It's called the perfect audience, or your perfect customer, doing the same thing that we went through.
Okay.
And you actually speak to the one, and you teach them. And you give away the content. At the end of every video, you send them to www.mydomain.com, whatever it is.
Capture the lead. Okay.
There you go. So, and you could schedule that as a live cast, Google Hangouts online. You could schedule doing this 1 week from today.
Yeah.
So if your goal was today, you write down as many questions as you come, type it up, and right now you go into Google Hangouts online and you schedule a live event 1 week from today or 2 weeks from today and post it on all your social networks and send it out to people so you have an audience. You could teach some people live and record it.
Yeah.
You could perform. It doesn't matter if you've got 5, 20, or 100. You'll perform your questions to your audience live for free. The entire Connected Planet. That content, then, you download it.
Yeah.
You could send it to someone on Fiverr who could chop it up, or you hire an editor. You can find great editors. I know you found Eric, obviously, is running this right here. You can find absolute professionals who love to produce content and work with entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
And they're entrepreneurs doing it as well. But you can find people who can chop up your Q&A segments, and you've got 20. You could have 20 weeks or 20 days worth of content.
Sure.
In a few hours.
Yeah.
Okay? And I take those same videos, I upload them to Fiverr for $5 for every 10 minutes. Usually a whole book worth of content's about 2 hours worth of material.
Okay. Sweet.
So it's less than $100 to have it transcribed. You can get someone to edit it on Fiverr or on something else. You literally, I mean, I produced, this is my first book, Author Expert Marketing Machines. I had cancer. I was laying in the fetal position, and I answered a 10 by 10 by 4 into my phone and sent that file to have it transcribed, and I passed it on to have it edited. That thing became a #1 bestseller.
No excuses for anybody.
No,
you know
exactly.
I mean, if you can do it.
I got a little girl, 9 years old, Abby Richter, wrote 4 books in 3 months.
Really?
Okay? If a 9-year-old girl can do it, no one's got an excuse.
I think what's cool is that the format of the 10 by 10 by 4, and you just actually just do it through audio or through video, that becomes the book. And because everyone thinks of a book as just like it's just a
seems
never-ending.
insurmountable.
Yeah.
That's because I've been writing my book. I've been working on it for 3 years. No, teach, share you.
Yeah.
Share your wisdom, your knowledge, your unique perspective, and that's how you discover your passion. Because your passion is created when people acknowledge and love you for sharing who you are and what you are.
Bam! That right there. That's the linchpin. That's what connects it all together.
Right.
And
you become accountable because you are serving. And when you've got an audience that expects it out of you, you're going to show up and you're going to be on time.
You're forced to. Got to live up to the brand.
Got to have a deadline.
You know what I mean? Got to have a deadline. So tell me about, so you've done the process, you get the audio, get it transcribed on Fiverr, you now have a book.
Book cover, $5, Fiverr.com.
$5, okay.
Yeah.
And so, I've heard you talk about books and having bestsellers, and we'll get into some of the techniques about how you get it to be a bestseller, but what's the impact of a book, and why is this something that you love as a marketer, and how does this make you money?
I'll tell you what. So that's a great series of questions. So let's say someone gives you, let's pretend this is a business card.
Yeah.
So someone gives you a business card and you hold that, right?
Yeah.
And then someone walks up to you and says, Nick, I've watched your podcast. You're a rock star. I've got a book. Do you mind if I give you one, if I sign this for you right now? You go. So I sit down and I'm like, Nick, love your podcast. You changed my life.
Bam.
All right? Tell you what.
Handing this over.
You gonna throw that away?
Yeah.
Ever?
No?
Yeah. So the whole deal is, and if someone's a best-selling author, and I'll explain the distinction between a New York Times #1 best-selling author and an Amazon best-selling author. There's a distinction, obviously, but your value, your elevation, your ability to get a speaking opportunity, your ability to be introduced by someone, by the way, best-selling author, people treat you differently. You are suddenly a celebrity. It sets up because this actually required some effort.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, the reality is, using Amazon's massive multi-billion-dollar platform, they give you for free, they pay you 70% of all the money. It took me, so the latest book, which again, I can use any one of these as an example. This one here, From Concept to Completion, under 30 days.
Yep.
Same strategy. Brainstormed, performed, transcribed, edited, put it out there, and it not only hit and sold, we sold 2,300 copies in 24 hours.
Okay.
It reached, I became #1 best-selling author on all of Kindle.
Okay.
Paul Colligan, who co-authored this with me, was #1, that bastard. But he had another book that was that we also co-wrote in this thing, and he got credit for that. So it's one of those things. It was within a few. But and I love Paul. But then, so we sold thousands of copies of the book. But the whole thing is now, I just did my 5th. From the time I started, and I said, I'm going to do another book. Got to launch. What could I do that would give away and create massive value for the audience and a connection? Give away a book.
Yeah.
But here's another way that makes money. So I had an opportunity, and this is, so the quick full disclosure is, I had cancer, just about died, stage 3A. It was a horrible experience. Had surgery, chemotherapy, radiation. I was away from my family for about 2 months at Duke Medical. Wrote and published the book while I was sick, and I produced the product. So the other thing is, the book is the what, and then the product is the how. So if you show people in the 10 by 10 by 4, look, I just saw your wheels. So you're like, okay. So
I got it.
Yeah. So now you teach them how to get the results that you're talking about in the what in the book. You've got a $200, $300, $500, $2,000 product, information product, showing them how. This becomes your sales letter. So I'll give you a good example. I was at Duke, And I had an opportunity while I was there. I got a call from someone over at Tony Robbins, and I had spoken on his stage once before. And one of the guys said, "Are you available to speak?" And he didn't know what was going on. I said, "I'd love to." I say, "What's the date?" He goes, "Boom, boom, boom." It was January. Actually, it's January 26th.
Okay.
A year ago. Okay, just a little over a year ago. I said, I got something weird going on. I told him that I'm at Duke. I'm getting radiated every day. I'm going through oral chemo. It was late stage cancer. I couldn't get it out with magic juice, and holistic treatment. So, and my last treatment is January 27th. He says, "Well, your speaking day," and he goes, "I'm sorry." I go, "You know what? I'm going to be there."
Wow.
And that was at the beginning. So I was 7 weeks. I talked to my doctor and I said, I actually got 2 extra radiations, 2 a day.
Yeah.
Because I left Duke, I flew to Las Vegas.
Yeah.
I went there, I got a spray-on tan because here's the deal. I weighed like 30 pounds less than I am now. I had a third of my hair. It was all gray. I looked like the Walking Dead. And I'm still taking oral chemo. Oh yeah, I got a spray-on tan. Here I am. I mean, I'm at a tanning place, buck naked, and the guy's got an airbrush, and I'm looking like a Holocaust victim. It's not good. I'm looking at my body. I'm like, it ain't me. This is not who I am. It's just a vehicle, man. Yeah. So anyway, next day I got up on stage, and I told my story, freaking standing ovation like you wouldn't believe. So I know this is probably bigger than most people, but I want to relate the thing. Yeah. And I had, what I did is I ordered 250 copies of my book. Yeah. From Amazon, which cost me $2.25 each. Okay. And I said, everyone here, you can have a copy of my book for free. Why don't you text your email address to this phone number that's on the screen? Yeah. I did this with permission. 285 people out of 250 who were in the room signed up, which meant that my little thing got out to people who weren't in the room that day.
Sweet.
And that went on to produce hundreds of thousands of dollars in revenue.
Wow.
Because they bought all the products that went along on how to publish and do this. So the point being, what this becomes is the most powerful lead generation vehicle. And here's one other big tip. Yep. So I actually purposely set up the book on Amazon when I release it, so it's as cheap as possible for the paperback version. Right now, you can get my latest book for $6.22. Okay. So what I do is, because I've got Amazon Prime, I get a bunch of addresses for customers. I will have an assistant enter them in and buy the book through Amazon Prime, have it gift wrapped and delivered. Who doesn't open up a package from Amazon? Yeah, for sure. So now they get something from me with a card from me, sending them to a website and saying, I've got a gift for you. Sweet. All right? Yeah. So the point being, this becomes the tipping point for helping you determine what your passion is. You can rapidly create content. I swear, I've got hundreds. I have proof. That pile of books is physical, irrefutable proof of customers who've used this system. Some of them have never written a book before. They do their 10-10-4. They present. They have it chopped up. Some of them just do the book, and they don't make the podcast or the live cast. But they do it in under 30 days, and they go out and they start getting on TV, and then they're like, I know exactly what I'm going to do to make my product now. All I have to do is show them how, so they can perform their product in front of camera in a couple of days. Yeah. And I don't care what business you're in or who you are, you can do this. This is not magic. It is. I believe you have a God-given right and a responsibility to share who you are with the entire connected planet.
Absolutely.
Right.
And so from the book, this becomes not only the business card, this becomes a lead generation magnet. So when you put the book out there, are you getting some free traffic and sales from Amazon because it's named the right way, it's got keywords? Yeah. So this is part of like the audience building process, and I think what's crazy is that having the book, and I'm going to be doing this soon.
You will.
I'm inspired, fired up about it. And it's like there's the street cred of saying I'm a best-selling author. Yeah, hell yeah. There's, I know 100% for a fact, PR is totally connected with. If you're not
you don't get on TV if you're not an author, okay? How's that?
Yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah.
It's harder.
It is very hard. And so you've got the PR side of it, and then, getting the free traffic from Amazon. And then if you've got, so your calls to action in here is what? Once
every
per
chapter, baby. Okay. Yeah. So in here, so like one of them is we've got a little segment on how to format your book for Kindle. So it'll say, text $5 to our phone number. So and again, just full disclosure, our tools are lead generators. They do this kind of thing. So every single chapter has an exercise and you get to go deeper. So really, when you look at the depth of the content, this is about 30%.
Right.
But now they get to meet me, see me, hear me, take me with them in their cars, in their pockets, watch me anytime, anywhere, and I'll even read the book for you for free, right?
Oh, yeah?
So
you have
what
the
we do,
version?
I haven't done the latest one, but that's what I'm about to do. Well, you can put it on something called Audible.
Yeah.
And again, for every book you sell, when it's selling for $2.99 and above, you get 70% of the money from Amazon. So every month right now, I get probably $3,000 a month in just free cash for my books.
Okay.
But the leads, Amazon gives you a free website, highly search engine optimized. You could put your pictures and your videos on there, all of your books, and I've got tools that anytime someone buys your book, what I say is forward your receipt to an email address, and our tool, what it'll do is get their physical address, their phone number, and their email address. That's their home address, by the way. Okay?
Yeah.
And their home phone number. Now I can build a real relationship.
Huge.
Thank you for buying my book. I will give someone a $100 product for free when they buy my book.
Sweet.
I'll give them their money back.
Yeah.
Because that's how valuable the lead is.
That's huge. I mean, so you're getting the content out to the book that actually helps you uncover your purpose and passion as you do it. Then as this thing gets searched and found automatically on Amazon, that's just a lead generating engine to bring in high value. So it sounds like, so when you did that with that presentation with Tony, when you're doing this on Amazon, how would you rank these leads versus like a Facebook ad lead or cold traffic? This is let's put this. If I ask you right now, what's the value of a podcast lead as compared to a Facebook lead? So what do they have to do in order to come to you? So right now, I mean, we're doing everything through webinars. So Facebook ads has been amazing to us. Yeah. So so we might spend $3 for an email address, and then by the time we get them to the actual live event, turn it to a positive cash flow for our products. The podcast, we actually haven't done anything to monetize yet. We're just giving. Yeah. So that's to be determined. Yeah. Eventually, we're building relationships. I'll answer the question for you. How's this? Okay. Yeah. The value of someone who bought a product with your name on it versus a free click. Yeah. If someone said to me, look, Mike, I will give you 1 million email addresses or a list of 1,000 buyers. Okay. What would you rather have, 1 million? I know the answer, but 1,000 buyers, Right. I'd do it for 500 buyers, okay? So you could even have people buy someone else's book and say, forward the receipt, I'll give you a $500 product for free when you forward your receipt, okay? Because someone bought a book about a topic. They're a buyer, and a buyer is a buyer is a buyer. Yeah. So the value of someone who's invested, purchased, implemented, read, and responded is 100 times better than any click, ever. Yep. Ever. Sweet, and it sounds like, I mean, by doing it this way, not only can you just get the information from your head to the book, it's a pretty low cost to market. Yeah. I mean, it's if you use Fiverr.com, you're getting this stuff put together pretty inexpensively. Right, so I will just say right now to just go through, and we call this multicasting, this whole process. So the multicasting idea is start out with your content. That's why I created the 10-10-4 originally, because I want people to have an experience and say, I can do this, okay? I can do this. Boom, all right. So you write it down. It only took me an hour. Yeah. Then you can sit down and record it. It only takes it's a morning or an afternoon, and I create a month's worth of content. That could become my book and my podcast and a product. Holy crap. They have this experience. They're like, all right, that's awesome. So you can live cast it to the entire connected planet. Like I said, right now, Google YouTube controls about 2 billion people. Through their network. So Google will say, I will make your broadcast available for as many as tens of millions of people for free. That is a massive partnership. And then Apple says, I got 1.5 billion email addresses, records, contact records. And they've got right now close to 1.5 billion podcast subscribers. And it's growing at unbelievable rates. Cable and broadcast television and broadcast radio is dead. It just doesn't know it's dead now. It's irrelevant, okay? And anyone who is a radio professional can have their own show for free with no infrastructure and keep all the money. Why the hell would they do it? So there's enough momentum in place where it's irrelevant. So
So that means Apple is going to give you access to their multi-billion-dollar network and their paying customers. Apple's got 500 million credit cards on file right now. Okay, the average Apple buyer spends almost $400 a year. Okay, so then you got Amazon. They're going to give you their multi-billion-dollar distribution network. List your website, give you a free website, or list your book, give you a free website, and sell your product for you and give you 70% of the money for free.
Not a bad deal.
All right, another multi-billion-dollar network working on your behalf. And then you social cast the content. So one of our tools, for example, will take your video and distribute it to all the major video sites, all the social media, all the social network sites, and notify them to help build your visibility. Okay. And then we do something we call mobile casting for capturing the lead. So these days, only 10% of all websites online are actually mobile friendly. So if you don't have a mobile friendly or what they call a responsive site, you're probably losing money. And if you're not capturing leads with mobile text and with voicemail and with QR codes, you're probably only capturing about 30 to 40% of the possible leads out there. So everything we create, you can text in, you can call in, you can visit a webpage.
And how do you like the text? So like you said, that they can text a certain number or code and they can get a resource. How do you like that versus entering your email? I mean, it sounds like it's a higher quality lead, but what's your take between the text versus email?
So it depends on the audience, it depends on the offer. So there's variables. So here's what I'll tell you. Like when we do them with this book, when we publish the book, I have a lot of offers in here, and for every 2,000 books we sold, we got about 700 leads. So it's roughly 30%. Now our latest ones run about 15%, but we've been giving the book away. So it's a different audience, a different situation. But that's incredible. Talk to anyone. No one does that, no published authors. So if I said to you, look, you can either have an email address, which someone could just give you their spam email address, or you could have someone's a device they keep in their pocket by their bed 24/7, 365, and they depend on it with their life. You have direct access to them, and get this, I can deliver an email, a mobile text, a voicemail message, an audio message, a video message, a podcast that gets delivered 100% of the time, or an email they probably never will look at or read. What do you want? Oh, and by the way, what our system will do is actually research that person and find their Twitter, their LinkedIn, and their Facebook account and gather some information about them. What would you rather have?
Absolutely. The text lead, and I think what's cool is that if you can leverage technology to get there and to actually make all that happen, that's going to save obviously a lot of time and make it simple. And I think the barrier for a lot of people is they feel that using text marketing or getting leads through text is just tough to set up. Most people
used to be tough
because there's a perception that it's hard to capture the leads, or how do you do it, where do you start? So you've got technology that's awesome, and I think it's only appropriate to share what it is. So tell us about Instant Customer and how it works.
Sure. Well, maybe what I'll do is, just because everyone's going to be like starting to type, so let's give them a place so they can get something cool now. And that's lifeonfire.com/yen, Y-E-N. And what we'll do is we'll give them a copy of my latest book. This is the You Everywhere Now book. I didn't even get the physical one yet. It hasn't shipped to me yet. That's how fresh this is. You can have this book totally free, and then in there will be some information about the tools we're going to talk about. That way, you'll see something that really explains all this. I go through the 10 by 10 by 4, how to be comfortable on camera. There's demonstrations and some videos to go along with it, and you'll see how I build the book that's designed to capture leads and build a relationship that you can model in your own business. So having said that.
And this is one of these things that, and again guys, just lifeonfire.com/YEN, yen. And so grab the book and then just study what's going on in the book and just go through the experience. I mean, that's what's awesome about this. Model it. And
steal my ideas. How's that?
And then take the actions that are within the book and just see how the entire funnel works. I mean, one of the best ways as a marketer to implement is to really see it through. And what I think is so cool about this is, Mike's a guy with a lot of influence. He's got a lot of customers, and you think, oh, well, it's easy for Mike to be a best-selling author. But
I was born naked and alone. Well, I had my mommy. That's all.
But so tell us about getting these books to bestseller. Have you done anything to use your list and influence to get them to bestseller, or what was the process on how you got there?
Okay, so let's answer the mobile text question first, and then I'll answer that one. So the mobile text is easy. So we have a system. It's all integrated. So it's like a 2-in-1 system. One's called Traffic Geyser, the other one's Instant Customer. Traffic Geyser is the tool for multicasting, broadcasting your message to the entire human race. It's like put your video in once, describe it, press a button, and it goes out to all of your social network.
Okay, cool.
Then Instant Customer is the engagement system. It's a tool that it builds lead capture pages, it follows up with email, with mobile text, with voicemail, it builds podcasts.
Okay.
So you can literally build your show and capture all the leads, and we've got little wizards that build everything for you, and we even have certified professionals who will do it for you as well.
Cool.
The wizards we have, we call them marketing machines, actually build these. It takes about 15 to 30 minutes the first time through. You just watch a video, you fill in a form, it builds your mobile responsive website, it allocates a phone number for you, it does the two-way messaging, and it delivers all this stuff. So it's all integrated in one place. So that's the big hard
pitch. So it makes it easier to implement all this stuff.
Yes, and I'll make sure, when you get the book, then you'll get a follow-up with some information about the system. That would be. So going on with the bestseller. So here's basically what happened. So let's just pretend we did the Life on Fire book, and I just interviewed you. I mean, we literally, if we had the time today, I could brainstorm with you in an hour. We'd come up with all the content you need. I could interview you, and I could interview anyone, and anyone can interview. You can have your kid hold your mobile phone, okay? It's good enough. But we could do it so we could broadcast it live. We could announce your list and just click a button and say, hey, we're gonna go live, But record it, divide it into little podcast chunks, and you'd have daily podcast episodes for the next 3 weeks. Because why not? Okay. And then have it transcribed, take a few days for that, have it edited. We could go out, there's a lot of people making book covers, and they're good looking on Fiverr, and you rush it might cost you $80. Then you get your transcript, and there's a little bit of formatting you have to do, but it's, Amazon will do it for you for a couple $100s. You can find people on Fiverr to do it, or any service. That's not the hard part, okay? And you spend a little time thinking about, okay, what kind of giveaways do I want to have also? The giveaway could be, I'll give you the audio version of my book. It's just the recordings.
Sweet.
Or the receipt, and I'll give it to you for free.
That's cool.
Right? So then what you do is you pick the categories that you want your book to be in. So I was telling you this off camera. Now it's possible to game the system. I'll just flat out say that. So you could pick like a dead category that doesn't sell a lot of books, and you could sell 5 books, and you could be a #1 bestseller. And that's skinky. Okay, it's just a yucky thing to do, and you got to live with yourself, right? So you want to pick good categories. I mean, other people have to live with themselves. That's what I meant to say. Not you, of course. Other people who do bad things. But basically, you pick your 3 categories. That's what Amazon gives you, and then using the service that Amazon provides, it's free. It's called Create Space. You upload your little PDF of your book, upload your book cover, and about 4 to 6 hours later, it's up and available for sale. And they'll let you have your author page, which lets you put your bio and your pictures and your videos up, and links, and it gets search engine optimized like crazy.
Sweet.
And then, about 24 hours later, paperback version available.
Nice.
Distributed, available worldwide. Okay, you got worldwide distribution on your book for free, and Amazon's gonna pay you 70%. Where do I sign up for this crack, right? That was crack, not crap. I don't know if you say the C word on this show, but and at that point, that little critter starts building rapport and relationships. And again, look, I am not special. I barely passed high school. I did not learn how to learn until I was in my 20s. I was completely, I was a D student. It's like I don't learn in traditional environments. So, and for me to be here today and having built what I did and having produced 5 books, 3 of which when I was going through cancer treatment in 18 months. Trust me, no one would have voted me the most likely to succeed growing up, So my point is, anyone can do this, and by submitting it to Create Space for free, Amazon distributes it, pays you. Don't we live? We live in the greatest moment in human history.
Right now, I feel the same way. That
it's like
it is. There's so much opportunity right now, and so what I love is that for anyone that does that model, puts this together, we're going to be doing it as well, and then this ranks on absolutely. It'll be a case study for 1.5. And so what I love is that Mike's not emailing about it. He's not running ads to this. Gets the book out, goes onto Amazon, and then that is doing its own work for him. It's the salesperson. It's the person that's getting people to the book. They buy the book at a very low cost. That person reads the book, builds trust with Mike, that lead texts. Now you've got a lead, and you're turning in not just hundreds of dollars. I mean, this is hundreds of thousands of dollars from the book.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you right now. This book. Now, I don't sell this anymore. I used to do this, and I just don't. It's like I don't want to be in that business anymore. Mm-hmm. I sold 4 $100,000 packages as a result of having this book.
Huge.
From one presentation.
That's crazy.
So this will give you access to people you cannot imagine, who will come to you and they will look at you like you are a rock star. And people will walk up to you in airports and in public areas, if you want it, and they will introduce introduce themselves to you, and they will say these magical words that I wrote down here, which is, "You changed my life." I've had people walk up and say, "You saved my life" before. And that is the inspiration, the passion that's gonna, if that doesn't give you a life on fire, I don't know what is.
Yeah.
You must be dead if that doesn't.
You would have to be.
Yeah, exactly.
That doesn't get you going.
That means it's like, you can't pour gasoline on that one and get anything out of it, all right? No Sparky, no Sparky.
Well, this has been awesome. And so before we wrap up, I want to end with just one question that I love to ask because it's just so interesting. But so what's something that most people don't know about you? It could be anything. But something, whether it's that dirty little secret of the skeleton in the closet, or just something funny that, we found out that Ree Perez, was a break dancing, aficionado.
Let's see. So there was one time in Thailand. No, it wasn't that one. No, I'm just messing. So, no, here's what it was. Okay, almost no one knows this about me. So, years ago, when I got first introduced to personal development, I studied Deepak Chopra, Wayne Dyer, and I ended up going on a trip.
Okay.
With Wayne Dyer and Deepak to Egypt. And I got to meditate and chant in the Great Sarcophagus in the Great Pyramid, which is no longer available. You can't get in there anymore. And I actually had, and this is like, I don't tell anyone this stuff. It's like I had literally an out-of-body experience. I had like an explosive bam. I was sweating. I couldn't even walk out of there. It was I experienced the equivalent of, it was really like a spiritual orgasm. That's the best way of describing it. And
that might be the name for this episode.
That's a little weird. I know there might be
the name for this one. And you get on the green screen and get to do the...
Yeah, so that led me a year later to meeting my wife in Greece. And I did the same thing, visited all the major spiritual epicenters on some of the major islands of Greece.
That's crazy.
And it was all, the core thing that brought it all together is I play the didgeridoo. That's the other weird thing. You know what the didgeridoo is?
No.
The Australian instrument. I have one in the other room.
Do you really?
I'll give you a little toot after a little while. You do circular breathing. That's where you blow and you inhale and exhale simultaneously. It's the ancient Aboriginal instrument that goes.
Really? We need like an intro to Life
on Fire TV. We'll do a little thing. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll give it to you. Little didgeridoo.
Well, you know what? There's just another question that popped up before we end. But so I think for me personally, I have kind of had a bit of a spiritual awakening myself just this past December. So I grew up Roman Catholic and stuff, but I was
Me too, man. 12 years of parochial education turns you into a non-learner. I'll tell you that right now. Keep on going. You a little bit rebellious, are you?
Yeah. And it's just crazy. I've always believed in God and this and that, but
and so on and so forth.
I kind of practiced in my own way.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until recently, through quite a few different events, that I was just like, you know what? I need this area of my life. It's just a whole nother level, another dimension. And so I had kind of this whole spiritual awakening, and I'm now totally all in on my faith and stuff, and it's been awesome. And from that, so many other doors have opened up, and I honestly feel like I'm living life at a different level, and things are getting easier. And it doesn't matter what I feel like it doesn't matter what the person's belief is, as long as you have spirituality as a part of your life.
Right.
And I truly think that that's a whole nother level of a life on fire. It's the well-roundedness. It's the it's just a different level. So spirituality, what's your take on it, or things that someone, or any advice for someone that maybe doesn't have that area of their life, or they're atheists and they're just like, I don't need it.
Yeah. Well, so I was raised Catholic. I've never resonated with it ever. I used to say I was born in the wrong place, the wrong time, the wrong family, the wrong city, with the wrong religion around me. I just felt like I felt very square in a round world, right? Or round in a square world, whatever it was. And I've since resolved all this anger stuff, that cropped up. But it turned me into an angry person. A lot of unresolved rage that I do believe contributed to what became and manifested as cancer in my body.
Wow.
So what I will tell you is I used to call myself an atheist or an agnostic, and the reality was I just didn't manage my anger, and I didn't fully feel what was going on, and I became disconnected. So where I am right now, obviously I had what some people label, I don't really like calling it a near-death situation, but let's face it, I almost died, I had that whole thing, and I got to really look and also become a non-judgmental observer, because when your body stops working, you realize what a spiritual being you really are. And it's sort of like, this is a beautiful gift from the Creator, but it is not who I am, and it is not what I am. It is a gift. It is a vehicle to experience the greatest, I think, to experience creation incarnate and through time, right? And so to be able to be a creator. Okay, not just a creative person, but to create and manifest life as well, as a male or as a female, which again is an illusion. All of this is just a grand illusion. It's beautiful. I love this illusion, and I'll be sad when it's over with. But it is what it is, right? And so I don't. And my wife is Jewish. Her parents are Holocaust survivors. So I've had the great opportunity to really experience Judaism, and I love Judaism. That, like, if I had to pick something that I resonate most deeply with, I love what it represents, and I love Jesus Christ. I love the mythology that goes along with it. I love that experience. I don't profess any particular thing because I just see it as an absolutely necessary component, and without it, you are not whole. That's what I believe. And if you've ever had an opportunity, I went through it last year. It's called the Hoffman process at the Hoffman Institute. A lot of people in our community have gone through it recently. Highly recommend it. It is a guru-less, non-religious, non-anything. It's just like you look at your emotional, physical, spiritual, intellectual selves, and you really get to see yourself in a different light. And so I practice meditation. I've got a meditation coach. For me, I found that the recognizing, acknowledging that there's definitely something greater than all of us. I just don't profess a particular religion. In general, I find religion to be a dangerous opiate, and not always, not forever. I just think that sometimes you fall in love with a story, and you fall in love with your certainty, and that can make you do bad things blindly. And so blind faith, I think, is a very, very, very dangerous thing, and it causes an enormous amount of pain on this planet. And I believe that we all need a spiritual base. So I way over answered your question, but
I think that might be the perfect segue to the instrument thing.
All right, let's go there, man. I'll tell you what, it sends you in a good place. It is a highly vibrational, resonant thing, so it's a good opener and a closer. I haven't done it in a while.
Man.
All right, let's do it.
Hey, what's going on, guys? So we have a
guys. What's this? Hi, Andrea. Soften it up, brother.
Hey, what's going on, Andrea? We're back again. And I just got busted saying guys again. So he literally just shook me. And so we're back to you. But here's the thing. Mike had a great idea and about jumping in. And because I love the idea of writing a book. I've been meaning to write a book for literally years.
And you need to write a book?
And I keep thinking that I was like, well, I really want to publish with Wiley. And I'll just eventually I'll do it. And it's one of these things that keeps going on and on and on. So here's the thing. I'm going to challenge myself. I'm going to challenge you. And I'm going to bang out one of these books in 30 days. And so I'm going to start the process just like you would and anyone else would. I'm going to go to lifeonfire.com/yen, Y-E-N. I'm going to grab your book, and then within that, I'm going to jump on your program and jump on the course. And if you guys want to jump on board with me, we can do this thing straight up together. Get our books out, get our marketing out, start driving in leads, and get the business to the next level.
Cross-promote each other, build a community. It's huge.
Yeah,
it's huge.
And you know what's sweet is I think for our fire starters that are watching this is that we're going to encourage them to jump on board with us and to write books together. You know what I mean? And not literally together, but we're going to challenge each other to get it done because there's so much impact and so much upside to having this book, from branding to income. And ultimately, the whole purpose of all this is we want to get to a life on fire. And that's a life where you're not stressing or sweating about money. It's a life where you are perceived as the expert so that it's easy for you to get those high-paid speaking gigs and all these things. So that's what I'm committing to you. So now I got to do it.
Exactly. This is great. Well, what's nice, too, is everyone can meet and connect with each other in the community.
Yep.
You're going to know who everyone is. I'm going to share everyone on your team, in your community, who gets the program, so you'll be able to connect with them and basically create a subgroup so they can hold each other accountable and also cross-promote, because that's the way this builds. It's, this forces you to realize that you're not alone, you're not doing this alone, and there's someone to take you every step of the way, answer your questions, and make sure that you're accountable and delivering and doing it. And this is something, again, I've had hundreds of people go through these programs and do this, and you can do it too. And that's what's so important. Anyone can do it.
Challenge.
Are you going to let a 9-year-old girl beat you?
You can't. Don't do it.
There's no way.
So, and I think this is the second segue over to the instrument.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
All right.
All right.